Hi, my name is Lisa, and I have 3 dogs, 3 cats, an old house, and anxiety, autism, and ADHD. And I'm on a journey to build a system for cleaning with anxiety, autism, ADHD, depression, pets, ponds, gardens, kids, and more. My plan is to spend the next year researching and building this system for those in the neurodivergent community and anybody who doesn't feel like the organizing videos on YouTube are for them. While I'm not completely there yet, I have spent the last 6 months getting to the point that I can actually start building a daily cleaning system, and this is the journey of how I got there. So step 1 was I started following professional organizers on YouTube and Facebook, as well as I purchased books, I attempted to use printables, and I got a lot of really good ideas, and I learned something from all of them. Step 2 was using an accountability partner. I started off using friends. Step 3 was purchasing cleaning tools that improved my efficiency. Step 4 was a huge mistake. It was hiring professional unpackers. All they did was open boxes and dump things out in the rooms that they went to. It actually took me 3 steps backward and put me into a hole that I couldn't figure out how to dig myself out of. From here, I tried and failed to clean up the situation on my own. I finally ended up hiring a friend's niece to come over and clean with me, just so that I had a partner. From here, we were able to get the house to a very livable condition. And yes, it needed some better organizing systems, but it was a livable space. The stress of everything truly caused me to have a breakdown, and I ended up talking to my therapist about how I was feeling. We explored several possibilities, and it was decided that I had ADHD. I was able to go see a psychiatrist and get on medication, which completely changed my outlook on life. The next step, completely necessary to my success, was to remove any and all toxic factors from my life, including an abusive relationship, as well as a job that I was no longer a good fit for. Armed with my new diagnosis and a better realization for why I was struggling, I joined several online support groups, and I met quite a few people and finally knew that I wasn't alone. I also transitioned into a new relationship with someone who is supportive and kind and compassionate and helped me develop a better sense of who I was. With things finally heading in the right direction, I started to have some self-compassion and to give myself the benefit of the doubt that I was trying and I wasn't lazy. Realizing and accepting what my struggles were, I started to try to find strategies. I tried hiring a house cleaner. That didn't work very well. I then hired a professional organizer, and that was absolutely life-changing. They truly see things in different ways than I do, and they were able to help me put better organizing systems in place. After working with the professional organizer, I took a look around the outside of my house as well as the inside to see areas that were taking up a lot of time and costing me my energy and causing me stress. I then addressed each of those individual issues one at a time, installing fences around my pond and my garden area to keep my dogs out, putting barriers around different beds that needed mulch retainers for storms, as well as removing plants that were poisonous and learning how to mow my own lawn so that I didn't have to rely on other people. I fixed my sprinkler systems so that I didn't have to water everything by hand. I got my dogs a 15-gallon water tank so that they would never be without water in the summer. I got the right tools to start doing my outside work. Inside, I ripped out carpet that smelled awful and installed tile in the area where the cats' litter boxes are. I installed barriers so that the cats couldn't get to the plants and knock them down one more time. I put in couch covers so that my couches would stay clean. I also looked at things that were taking up my time in terms of storage. So I put a deck box out front so that I had necessary tools for working in the front yard instead of having them all the way in the back in the shed. I also put in IKEA cabinets so that I didn't have to go downstairs for all of my extra cleaning supplies and my extra cooking supplies. I started working with friends that I met on my online support groups to do mirror cleaning. I started taking a look at my indoor spaces and examining whether or not they were set up in a way that was useful to me. So for example, in my dining room, I never used the table and it completely blocked the cozy fireplace. So I changed it out. I got rid of the table and I put a couch in there so that I can enjoy the space. After I made my spaces tailored for me, I started looking at my hot spots and identified which areas were consistently messy, which areas were inconsistently messy, and which areas were never messy. I then scheduled them out into a weekly planner for what needed to be done each day. I started living by the phrase progress, not perfection, and giving myself credit for the things I was actually doing. I hired people off apps that were super cheap to help me do heavy lifting in the garden areas and the pond areas. I started filming myself using time-lapse to hold myself accountable for what I was doing. After my third marathon clean that I did a time-lapse video of, I realized it was leading to burnout. I was exhausted, and for days afterwards, I wouldn't do anything, and the space would simply revert to what it was. It was a vicious cycle that within 2 weeks, I was having to do another marathon clean. I decided I wanted to break this cycle, but nothing that I have tried so far has addressed all of my needs. So that has led me to the point that I'm at today, building my own system to address how to clean a house with neurodivergence and pets in under 30 minutes a day.